This is the Big 12 preview, obviously. As you can tell by the title, we're going to talk about all 10 teams. We're going to go through all their schedules, pick every single game. For the first time with me, I have... Introduce yourself.
Matthew. And I've known Nikolai for...
a long time.
We'll
go with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a Texas Tech fan. So he is also a co-Big 12 supporter. That's why I'm having him do this with me. And yeah, we're going to have fun with it. We're going to go in alphabetical order just like last year. Start with Baylor, end with West Virginia. But there's a couple shocking things in mine. He's got a couple shocking things in his. We discussed it. But we've got our notes. We've got our stuff. So let's just jump into it. Starting off with Baylor. Baylor, pretty weak non-conference schedule. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. All of them are pretty weak, to be honest.
I mean, Stephen F. Austin, UTSA, and Rice, at Rice. I mean, not really much. I think we can both agree that they're going to win those 3 games at 3-0.
Yep.
Versus Iowa State at home. I actually struggled a little bit picking this game because I think Iowa State's going to be pretty good this year. They got a second-year quarterback, Brock Purdy. If he has a sophomore year, like we remember last year, Ellinger was a sophomore. He had a pretty good sophomore campaign. If Purdy can do something like that, Iowa State will be a threat for a Big 12 title. But it's in Baylor, and I feel like Baylor's going to edge them out at home.
It's an interesting prediction, yeah. Yeah, I got Baylor with the loss, but
okay. All right.
It's respectable.
And then at Kansas State, Baylor.
Got Baylor as well.
Yeah.
K-State, new coach, new program.
No.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that one happening.
Texas Tech at home. They're not playing at AT&T Stadium. They are playing at McLean Stadium in Waco. I feel like Baylor always loses a weird game at home. I feel like this could be the weird game they lose at home, but I got Baylor winning at home.
It's a good prediction. I've got Texas Tech winning. Got to have faith in my Red Raiders. But
I could see that.
Hey, if Bowman's healthy this year, tough new coach on staff, we've got
he's not wrong.
a good future. So
at Oklahoma State, that's their first loss of the season for me. So I have them starting off 6-0, and they lose to Oklahoma State.
That's going to be my second loss for Baylor. OSU.
They have a pretty weak first half of the schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then versus West Virginia.
Easy dub.
Yeah. At TCU, rivalry game in TCU. I'm going to give TCU the upset edge. TCU pulls off a dub.
I'm going to give Baylor that one, but I could definitely see TCU pulling it off. Definitely
Upsets
possible.
happen, yeah. And then versus Oklahoma at home. Oklahoma and Texas, I think, are the only 2 Big 12 teams that have not lost at McLean Stadium. I think Oklahoma keeps that alive. I think Oklahoma wins in Waco. Jalen Hurts will do something special probably.
Yeah, I got Baylor losing, and I think it's pretty straightforward. OU's going to be pretty salty.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then the next week, they have a tough stretch. They got at TCU, as we said earlier. Then they got Oklahoma at home, and then they have Texas at home. But I do not think they go on a 3-game losing streak. I think that Baylor at home finally ends their long losing streak to Texas. They've lost to them, 4 straight years. They lost in 2015 with like their 3rd-string quarterback. 2016 they lost, and it was their first loss of the season. 2017, I think Texas blew them out. 2018, it was a close game. Buechele had to go in for Ellinger when Ellinger got hurt. So Baylor's a little salty with Texas probably about losing to them so many times in a row. I mean, the series is a blowout, I think, but I think Baylor will pull off that upset there, and that Baylor will go crazy.
I like that. I like that prediction. I've got him a loss. Ellinger's looking pretty good, but I could see it happening either way, really. It's a toss-up, but I've got him with the loss.
I agree. I could see Texas winning there, too, but I think Baylor at home, slight advantage. And then at Kansas.
I don't think we have to say anything about that.
Yeah. So I got Baylor,
the
actually.
Jayhawks.
I got Baylor overall at 9-3, 6-3 in conference. And spoiler alert, they do not make the Big 12 title.
Yeah, pretty close. I've got them 8-4 and 5-4 in conference.
All right. Next up, we're going to go to Iowa State. Iowa State, they got a second-year quarterback, Brock Purdy. They got Matt Campbell, who's a head coach. He has improved them basically every year since he's been there, but they are losing their starting running back in David Montgomery, not due to suspension or transfer or anything, because he graduated like every other college student. Well, not every other college student, but most college students.
Comes to D1 sports level.
Yeah, there's a lot of transfers. But they have a pretty weak conference schedule. They do have Iowa in there, which will be a challenge, but that is at home. But University of Northern Iowa, that's a win.
Easy dub.
Versus Iowa at home, I think they win that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be more difficult than the other games, but they'll win that one.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's going to pull off the edge there.
Yeah. UL Monroe, win.
Win, yeah, easy win.
At Baylor, loss.
I got them at a win there. Got some confidence in Iowa State this year. I think they're improving each year, and they're going to be a dark horse this year.
I agree with that statement. I mean, Desmond Howard did pick him to win the Big 12.
I could see it, honestly.
Versus TCU at home, win.
Mm-hmm. Got the dub.
At West Virginia, win.
Agreed.
At Texas Tech, loss.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you there.
If Bowman stays healthy, they will be a threat to do something because he is pretty dang good unless his lungs decide to fail him. But if his lungs can stay healthy and the rest of his body, they could be something else.
I definitely agree with that. Defense is looking good, according to the coaches. So they can keep a solid defense.
Their own coaches are going to say that.
Well, spring games looking pretty salty, so
all right.
Enough said there.
Oklahoma State at home, I got them winning that one. And then you got that.
I got a loss against OU next.
Yeah, me too. 2 years ago, remember, Iowa State stunned Oklahoma in Norman, beat Oklahoma in Norman. That was their only loss of the whole season. I don't see a repeat of that. I don't think Oklahoma will repeat with that all-red uniform. So I think Oklahoma wins it there. I think they will refuse to lose in Norman to Iowa State again. Mm-hmm. But I would not be surprised if Iowa State gave them a nice challenge.
I agree with you there, yeah.
And then Texas at home, I got Iowa State beating Texas at home. Last year, Iowa State lost to Texas. The year before they lost to Texas. They haven't beaten Texas in a few years. So I think Iowa State will get themselves a nice little victory over the Longhorns. So, yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I'm going to give them the win. Yep. And the next three, or next two.
Yeah, next two versus Kansas at Kansas State. Win.
Pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Up next. Oh, wait, we didn't put our final records. 9-3, 6-3 in conference.
10-2 and 7-2 in conference.
Number 3, we're going to talk about Kansas. It's going to get rough, guys. Les Miles, new head coach. Puka Williams Jr., pretty good running back. But he is suspended. He is suspended the first game.
Puka is
Don't domestic violence. Don't do bad stuff, people, okay?
This is the year that Kansas comes out of their shell with Puka.
I could see them pulling off a couple upsets. But I have them at 3-9.
Mm-hmm.
I have them beating Indiana State and Coastal Carolina.
I like it. I got them beating both of those as well.
I have them
got a couple upsets, though.
Losing at Boston College.
Same here, yeah.
I could see them beating West Virginia if Austin Kendall is an absolute bust, but I think that West Virginia pulls it off.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
At TCU, the past few years, Kansas has actually played TCU really close. Last year they beat them. The last 3 years before that, it's been like really close games, no matter where it's been. So something about TCU, Kansas just like turns it on. I could see that as an upset, but because it's in TCU and TCU's looking for some vengeance from last year, I see TCU winning that. In a close one.
Yeah, it's going to be a close one, but I have faith in TCU. They're getting better recruits, so I'm going to give it to them.
Versus Oklahoma. This is interesting. Last year, if you remember, in Norman, Kansas actually gave Oklahoma a run for their money. The final was like 55-40 something. Oklahoma was only like a touchdown ahead most of the game, and then Kansas, I think, turned the ball over late. Oklahoma was able to capitalize and score. But if Kansas can keep it close, you're going to think I'm crazy, but if Kansas can keep it close and Oklahoma's defense is as horrendous as it has been like the past couple years, Kansas could potentially upset Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. I could see the upset happening. I've got OU with the win.
Yeah, I
obviously,
got OU
but I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see what OU does with Coach Ravenel. I mean, he's a incredible defensive coach. He didn't do much last year, but he was great with Mike Leach back in the day at Tech. So I think he's going to do some good stuff in the defensive end.
Yeah, then where were we, OU? At Texas, that's a loss. Versus Texas Tech, that's a loss.
All losses.
Kansas fans, you can rejoice. I got Kansas beating Kansas State. Thoughts?
Interesting prediction. I'm gonna go with the loss. Actually,
It's in
I skipped
Kansas.
over my schedule wrong. I got them beating West Virginia and TCU, Kansas.
Okay.
I got the upsets
Okay.
there.
All right.
Yeah, but yeah, I got the loss against.
I got them beating Kansas State at home.
I could see it happening though.
Yeah. At Oklahoma State, they lose out. At Oklahoma State, at Iowa State versus Baylor.
Yep, I got all the losses there.
Yeah, so 3-9, 1-8 in conference, irrelevant.
I got them 4-8 and 2-7
It's not bad.
conference. I think they're gonna get West Virginia and TCU.
I would not be surprised to see that. So Kansas State, they got no Bill Snyder for the first time in 200 years.
Sad.
Rip Bill, but I don't see a good year for him. I think it's going to be a rough stretch for him. Nichols and Bowling Green, I could see them beat. I see them beating those two
I
teams.
think those are straightforward ones. Yeah,
At Mississippi State, that's a loss. At Oklahoma State, loss.
loss.
Yeah, versus Baylor, loss. Versus TCU, I got them winning.
Got the win there as well.
Alex Delton transferred to TCU, and he's playing at Kansas State. I think Kansas State is going to send a message to him. I think is he a grad transfer or is he a regular transfer?
I'm not sure. Yeah.
But if it's just a regular transfer, they're going to get some revenge on Alex Delton.
But yeah, I'd like to see them beat TCU. Not anything against any of you TCU fans out there, but I'm not the biggest Patterson fan. But,
Gary.
Golden Gary.
Gary always.
I don't
checking
know.
his-
They're declining the past couple
They
years,
really
so
are.
I don't know.
Yeah, the Big
It's gonna
12
be K-State there.
The Big 12 is kind of like back to what it used to be, you know? Like for
Yeah.
that small period, you had like Baylor and TCU dominating the conference. Like
Mhm.
the two teams, you were like, why are they dominating? And then like now it's kind of back to
weird.
Texas, Oklahoma. Texas Tech might get back in the mix. So like
Right.
the original teams, you know?
Yeah, I like to see that. Yeah.
Oklahoma, I got them losing everything but West Virginia for Kansas State.
I got losses all the way down, but as I said earlier, I got a win against KU. But
All right.
that's my one dub in there.
Now we get to oh God, how many Big 12 championships in a row have they won? 4? I think it's 4. I think it's the class, yeah. So
Unfortunately.
Oklahoma, obviously the transfer of Jalen Hurts, that's a big deal for him. He's probably a Heisman favorite because they've won the last 2 Heismans.
Mhm.
Got a great coach in Lincoln Riley. I think they still have Trey Sermon. He's a pretty solid running back. You got C.D. Lamb as a receiver.
CeeDee Lamb, solid.
New defensive coordinator, I think. I
Mhm.
mean, if they can get their defense improved, they're a national title contender. But Jalen Hurts obviously going to have to adapt to the offense.
I mean, the question is, you see Hurts, though, being as good as Murray this
No.
year. Yeah, I don't know if I see that offensive
He's-
powerhouse that they
He's
had
not
last year.
He's not as quick. He's
Mm-mm.
bigger. I mean, everyone's bigger than Kyler Murray, but
Is he more accurate, though?
that's a good question.
I don't know.
But their
Could see
first
that.
game, it's versus Houston
It's interesting.
at home, Sunday night. But here's the
Mhm.
thing: last time they played Houston, 2016, they had Baker Mayfield. If you don't remember that, and they lost. It was a neutral site, and they lost. All right. So they lose that game. That's the last time they played Houston. And guess who's the new coach at Houston?
Old West Virginia's coach.
Yep, Dana Holgerson. So Dana Holgerson, he's not going in here blind. He's played Oklahoma multiple times, and it's not like it was 10 years ago. It was recently. Last year, year before, like he's played them recently, so he knows. He's obviously not going to be perfect, but he knows Oklahoma better than other teams would that are non-conference. So
Mm-hmm.
I expect Houston to give him a challenge, but Oklahoma will win.
Oklahoma in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
South Dakota, UCLA wins.
Yep, those are dubs.
Texas Tech at home.
It's a win. Mm-hmm.
At Kansas. We
Enough
talked
said.
about that. Versus Texas and Dallas. I expect this year for Oklahoma to be very similar to last year, with one exception, which we'll get to at the end of their schedule.
Mhm.
I think they lose to Texas and Dallas. In Dallas, they lose to Texas, but later on we'll talk about what they do in Arlington later. But I think Texas is able to win in the Cotton Bowl. Just get the golden hat again for Texas, and that's all I got.
I got OU on that one. I think they're going to be coming in with a little chip on the shoulder. So I think they're going to come for that win. But it could go either way. Really could.
I mean, rivalry games, especially that one, it's never a home game. It hasn't been a home game since like 1929. It's a great game. If you've never been to a Texas OU game, it's such an experience. It's great. West Virginia win.
Yeah.
Kansas State win. Iowa State win. Baylor win. TCU win.
Only area I differ, Iowa State. I think Iowa State's going to have an upset there. I think it's going to be their year.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I have Oklahoma with the second loss, believe it or not. I think at Oklahoma State pulls off the impossible. I think Oklahoma State stuns their in-state rival. Even though Oklahoma demolishes them in like the series, like 90-10. I think Oklahoma State, after last year, remember last year, Oklahoma won 48-47. Oklahoma State came down, scored a touchdown, went for 2, and they failed with like a minute left in the game. Like even if they got the 2, Kyler Murray would have probably gone down, scored a field goal or a touchdown, and they still would have won. But just to lose in that fashion is pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I think Oklahoma State pulls off a huge upset, and they end their 4-year losing streak to their in-state rival.
You never know what Mike Gundy's going to pull out.
A mullet.
He's always got to – that is one thing. Always consistent, though.
Yeah. Speaking of Oklahoma State, they are the next team on our list. They're coming off an inconsistent year. Like, they would go at home. They got absolutely murdered by Texas Tech. They beat Texas at home, and then they almost beat Oklahoma in Norman. They were so inconsistent last year.
Yeah,
I don't know what's
characteristic for sure. Past, they're generally always pretty solid.
Yeah. But this year, I got another somewhat inconsistent year for them. I've got them beating Oregon State, McNeese, and Tulsa. What are your thoughts on that?
All but Tulsa. We're going to go with the upset in Tulsa. Grant Sawyer. Look on your screens for Grant Sawyer. He's the man. He's going to get them the win all the way.
I mean,
easy.
It's at Tulsa.
Win.
It's at Tulsa.
At Tulsa.
At Texas. Happening. Texas has not beaten Oklahoma State in like 4 years. I think Texas finally gets it done. They finally get their crap together against Oklahoma State, and they get themselves a win.
I agree.
Versus Kansas State, I got them winning.
Yep, got a win there.
At Texas Tech is a loss.
Agreed.
Baylor win at home. I think I do. Iowa State loss. TCU loss.
Got them beating TCU.
I think they, remember last year they had that one bad game at home against Tech? I think that happens against TCU this year.
It's going to probably sneak in there somewhere, yeah.
Kansas they beat.
Yes, yeah.
I have them getting shocked at West Virginia. West Virginia wins at home against them. And then they take that anger and unleash it on the Oklahoma Sooners.
I got the loss against Oklahoma, but you never know. You never know what could happen. Oh, we didn't do overall record for OU.
We did not. Oklahoma 10-2, 7-2 in conference.
11-1, and 8-1 in conference. And then Oklahoma State. What was your overall?
7-5 overall, 4-5 in conference.
I got 7-5 overall and 5-4 conference.
TCU. Last year they were pretty inconsistent on offense. Like it was a mess for them. I don't even know. This year, they opened up their season against Arkansas Pine Bluff as 53-point favorites. Yes, you heard me right. 53 points. Loss. Loss.
Yeah.
I got them winning.
That would be an easy win.
Yeah.
I looked at the schedule and did not know what that abbreviation stood for, so I decided that was going to be a win.
Then they play at Purdue. Purdue's actually got a pretty solid team. Rondell Moore.
Yeah.
Last year, remember, Purdue absolutely demolished Ohio State at
Coming
home.
off a pretty good year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some good ones anyways.
I think Purdue wins.
Agreed.
SMU win. Kansas win. Well, you disagreed with that, actually.
I got Kansas, with obviously the win there, but
Iowa State.
That's an L.
Kansas State.
Agreed.
Texas.
Yep.
Oklahoma State, they win.
Ooh, I got them losing.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, I think we switched to the next two.
And then Baylor, I have them upsetting Baylor. You did not.
TCU and Baylor?
Yeah.
I actually did have them winning.
You had who, TCU?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Baylor earlier. My bad. I had TCU upsetting. Texas Tech and OU, they lose, and then they beat West Virginia at home to close out their season.
Mm-hmm.
So, in conclusion, 6-6. 5-4 in conference. Wait, hold on. Yeah, that's 6. I counted right.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I messed that up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I could have
have
sworn
them
you had
losing to Baylor. Yeah.
So is that all on TCU?
That's all
we
TCU.
got. All right, Texas. Are they back? Are they not back? They got a good team. They got a returning quarterback. They got a couple young guys in the secondary. Caden Stearns. You got B.J. Foster.
Mm-hmm.
On offense, you got a sophomore running back, Keontae Ingram. You still got Colin Johnson, who's a freaking humongous target, 6'6", can catch any jump ball. You did lose Lil Jordan Humphrey though. However, lost some veterans in the backfield in the secondary, and you did lose another running back in Trey Watson. So a good amount of people are gone. I think you did lose a couple defensive players on the line as well, Chris Nelson, but
Yeah.
they did get a couple good recruits out of what I've heard. But here is why I'm concerned about Louisiana Tech. That's right, you heard me right. Texas with Tom Herman has yet to win a season opener. First year at home against Maryland, loss. Second year at Maryland, loss. They have not won a season opener with Herman.
Oh, Timmy.
Ends this year. They beat Louisiana Tech at home.
I agree. That's going to be a win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
LSU.
Ooh.
This has
gonna be a
been
fun
hyped
one.
up to be like the game of the year, it feels like. Ever since Texas beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl, everyone's been like Texas versus LSU. Texas playing a top 10 SEC team. It's in Austin. Austin's been hyped about it. UT has been hyped about it. Everything on Twitter, everyone's going crazy saying LSU sucks and stuff. Not like they're bad, but like, trash talk kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Austin is going to be absolutely like just freaking insane. It's going to be sold out. It's going to be crazy. People are going to be drunk. So it's just going to be chaos. I think Texas, the only reason I have Texas winning is because of the chaotic home environment.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think they're going to upset LSU. I think they're a better team, but we'll see.
I think LSU, their offense is better than people expect. Their quarterback is pretty solid, but I think that Texas pulls it off.
All around.
And then I got them going on a little bit of a win streak here.
Yeah, probably losing against Rice.
They beat Rice. They play Rice in Houston, NRG Stadium.
Should be a win.
They beat Oklahoma State. They beat West Virginia. They beat Oklahoma in Dallas. Obviously, he disagreed with that earlier.
Yeah.
They beat Kansas. They beat TCU. They beat Kansas State. But then, this is where it goes bad for them.
Mm-hmm.
They look like they're doing great. They're like, holy crap, we're undefeated. We're going to make the playoff if we win the conference.
Mm-hmm.
But then they drop it to Iowa State. That's a good loss.
agree.
That's a solid loss.
I think that's a loss to Iowa State.
If Iowa State is as good as people think they are, if they're a top 25 team, and you lose to them on the road, that's a solid loss,
You can
right?
recover.
But then they lose to Baylor the next week, and that knocks them out of playoff contention.
I could see it. I could see it happening. I got them winning Baylor and Tech, though.
And then they beat Texas. Interesting fact about the Texas Tech series. The home team in Texas Tech has not won since 2013 when Baker Mayfield was playing for Texas Tech, and Texas won 41-16 in Austin. Every other year since then, road team has won.
It's been back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's been the road team. So I would not be surprised if Tech won, but I think Texas finally snaps that streak.
I think it's going to be a dub, yeah.
So they snap a couple streaks this year.
10-2 and 7-2 for me in conference.
That's what I have as well. Just a couple different things here and there.
Yeah.
Now we move on to his team, the Texas Tech Raiders. Booyah. They win all their non-conference. Their non-conference is absolute trash.
Agreed.
At Arizona is the most difficult, and that's not too great.
Shouldn't be too bad, hopefully.
They win
Arizona
those.
State, though, has given us trouble in the past.
No,
so
Arizona. It's regular Arizona.
I know, but still, similar caliber teams.
It's regular Arizona.
I know it is, but I'm saying they're similar caliber teams.
I guess.
And they lost to Arizona, that kind of caliber team years before. So, but I have them winning.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know. Arizona's probably worse than ASU, but still, it could be problematic.
At Oklahoma. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a loss. Yeah, I agree.
Versus Oklahoma State win.
I got that too. Loss against Baylor, though. That's what I have.
Same. Iowa State win. I got them upsetting Iowa State.
Agreed.
Kansas, West Virginia, TCU, KSU, I have them all winning.
Yeah, same here.
And then losing to Texas in their season finale.
Pretty much the same schedule for me.
So in conclusion, Texas Tech goes 9-3, 6-3 in conference.
I agree. I think Iowa State, Texas Tech, especially Texas Tech, nobody's expecting it. But if Alan Bowman is healthy all year long, that is the key. That is the key. But if he is...
He's an underrated quarterback.
He has so much potential. I know the coach is saying he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks he's ever seen. Like, this guy could be a game changer.
If he stays healthy, the Big 12 is, in threat from an underdog. Because Texas Tech's quarterback, Alan Bowman, if you've not seen him play, he is really good. He was up, 14-0 on Oklahoma last year, and,
so good.
35-14 at half, and then his lung collapsed again.
If you look at every game he was playing, we were in it.
He was freaking on fire.
Every game that Duffy came in or was playing, nothing against Duffy, but Texas Tech went downhill.
Except for the Texas game.
Put up a decent, yeah.
Texas was up 35-3, and then Duffy went off.
Yeah, that was a rarity. He's a good runner, but his passing is just...
Back to Texas, just one more thing I have to say. Last year, the only problem I have with Texas is that while they did play really good in big games like Georgia and Oklahoma, they struggled in some games they should not have struggled in. Kansas, Tulsa, just games they should not have struggled in.
Tulsa.
They just should not have struggled in the Kansas game. They should not have struggled in the Tulsa game. They should not have struggled in the Maryland game. I mean, they just sucked against teams that were not that good, which is a little bit of offset for me.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see them struggling with that.
Yeah. And West Virginia.
Oh.
My notes for them, they lost Dana and Austin Kendall as their starting quarterback.
It's going to be a rough year, I think.
They played James Madison, who is not a bad team. They're an FCS team, I believe. They won the championship a couple years ago. The Dukes, but I still think West Virginia pulls off the win.
I agree. Yeah.
They lose at Kelly Bryant's Missouri. They lose to NC State at home.
Agreed.
They beat Kansas on the road.
I got the loss there.
And
upset.
They lose everything else except for Oklahoma State at home.
I got them losing everything but K-State. But could go with any of those. Any of those could happen. 2-10 overall, 1-8 in conference.
3-9 overall.
Yeah.
Whatever in conference, but yeah, it's specific to the West Virginia fans. Yeah, you are not our rival, by the way. Stop forcing a rivalry with Texas because it's not going to work. Texas will never view you as a rival, so please just shut up. Okay? Thanks. And now to the Big 12 title. Who do you have in your Big 12 title, Matt?
Ooh. I'm going to have to go with OU and Texas.
You're going to have to go with. It's based on your record from this.
Exactly.
So
OU and Texas.
OU and Texas, based on your records?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I have Oklahoma and Texas as well, and I think it's going to play out just like last year. I think Oklahoma loses in Dallas, but it's hard to beat a good team twice, and it shows once again. I think Oklahoma wins their 5th consecutive Big 12 title, beats Texas in the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, I've got the same outcome. I think OU's going to pull it off.
I think the loser of Dallas wins the Big 12. That's crazy to say, but it's so freaking hard to beat a good team twice.
That's a good point.
It's really difficult. Evidence was last year. Texas was good. Oklahoma was really good. Texas beat them in Dallas. They were dominating in Dallas until they had that choke in the 4th quarter. And then they won by 3. Then you go back. You say if Texas can put up that fight they put in the first 3 quarters where they blow them out, they win again. Well, Oklahoma's a really good team. They got a smart coach who knows how to adjust, and they had a Heisman Trophy winner as their quarterback. And a good team cannot be beaten twice. And I see that again this year.
I can see it happening.
Yeah. Underdogs, Iowa State would be another choice.
I actually have Iowa State the same record as Texas.
And if you have Iowa State beating Texas, that means Iowa State makes it to the Big 12 championship.
Iowa State then.
So you have
my championship team.
Okay.
I did not think of that.
You're welcome.
But I would have OU still winning that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying that Oklahoma beats Iowa State twice in this? No, you had Iowa State winning the first time, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, that would be an interesting one. Well, hopefully my predictions are trash and Texas wins the Big 12. Am I right?
Well, yeah. I got Iowa State losing to OU.
All right.
I think OU still wins.
Sorry. Anyways, okay. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a big fat like. I know it was a long one, but we had to get all our predictions in. Who's gonna win the Heisman this year?
Oh,
Okay, we're gonna say it in 3 seconds. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Trevor Lawrence. No, God. Trevor Lawrence is my pick.
Alan Bowman.
Alan Bowman is his pick.
It all depends on how Texas Tech does, though. If they have a
Obviously,
trash season, that's not happening.
who's your plan B? What's your plan B? Alan Bowman's lung
My
decides to
plan
go
B?
oof.
I don't even know.
To Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Sam Ellinger, Jake Fromm.
I could see Sam Ellinger, honestly. I hate to say it, but I could see
We're
it.
friends.
I could see it.
That's just some college football for you. We got our first game tonight, Oklahoma State at Oregon State. But tomorrow we got some good games. Golly. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you liked it, leave a big fat like. If you want to subscribe, you need to subscribe. If you want to see more of Matt, just say so in the comments, because he will be here all year, and we will talk more Big 12 if you want us to. He can be my co-host for Big 12 stuff. He knows nothing about NASCAR, so don't expect anything from NASCAR.
I know Jeff Gordon liked one of your tweets.
Jeff Gordon. Yes, Jeff Gordon liked one of my tweets. I'm basically his best friend
famous now.
Yes, I'm famous. I'm so famous to 337 people.